Now, some of you have been waiting years to see this indie animated pilot called Talon. It's finally out, and the creator was kind enough to give us early access, so I'm here, ready with a breakdown on the lore and maybe what to expect from the series going forward. My name is Deepcut, welcome back to Cartoon Universe, and let's dive into it. Now, for those of you who don't know, Talon is an indie animated series about dinosaurs wielding magical elemental powers. They fight back against an alien race that wants to destroy the Earth and has already conquered many other planets. The show focuses on our main character Talon and their sauropod pal as they unlock powers from an ancient source and try to find the other champions, the other dinosaurs destined to fight alongside with them. As far as the premise goes, this is a banger idea. It's wild that we've never gotten a truly epic dinosaur TV show in this style, even though it feels like a no-brainer. Kids love dinosaurs, and we even have a Jurassic Park animated series on Netflix now, but I'm not aware of any studio that has tried to make a magical dinosaur story as an original IP. After the explosion of Power Rangers in the 90s with their dinosaur themes and giant robots, I expected this kind of show to become a trend. But instead, we're only now just getting something like this in an independent pilot. Now, any animated project comes with some limitations, and with indie animation, you can be even more restricted. I wasn't sure how well the animation would go on a small-scale project with non-human characters. Non-human characters can be really tough to get right, especially when they don't have arms and hands to grab things or express themselves with. It makes every single shot of the characters moving around or walking around or a conversation while in motion very difficult. Shows like My Little Pony Friendship is Magic get around a lot of this by having characters with magical abilities to levitate objects. But Talon really only has one character with that ability, and in the pilot they're used minimally for this purpose. With all that in mind, I was truly shocked by just how well the entire pilot flowed with its animation. The effort put into animating these dinosaurs shows through from start to finish. We knew from the earlier trailers on the show that the team behind this could deliver action and cinematic moments, but the pilot had to prove that even the more quiet scenes can work with these characters. But still, the action scenes with the dinosaurs are especially cool, and it's really fun seeing them fight both with and without their powers. Now, for those who don't want spoilers, turn back now, because I'm about to break down the actual story and lore. This wouldn't be Cartoon Universe without a little mythology and conspiracy, and while Talon is new, I've talked before about how the show shares some DNA with other stories, like the comic series Dinosaurs vs. Aliens. Or was it called Aliens vs. Dinosaurs? I don't remember. At the most basic level, both stories are summed up in 3 words, but they both take radically different approaches and both borrow from real-life conspiracy theories about ancient aliens and prehistoric Earth. A lot of you are probably familiar with the Ancient Aliens theory today, which has been popularized by that long-running History Channel series, which has been on the air longer than some of you have been alive. The basic theory is that humans were created or influenced by aliens, maybe even being biologically descended from them in some way. The more wild conspiracies take it further, claiming that in order for Earth to be habitable for sapient alien species that would eventually become humans, the dinosaurs had to be wiped out. In these theories, the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs is treated as a modern myth, with the supposedly true story being that the aliens wiped out the dinosaurs deliberately, either with massive attacks or even a single catastrophic nuclear-style event that we later wrote off as an asteroid strike. Talon explores these ideas with its own twist, a larger war, and maybe even the possibility of an alternate timeline. At the start of Talon, the world is actually in a pretty peaceful state, at least as peaceful as dinosaur times get. Here, Talon is just a young dino living with their mother, trying to be helpful to friendly dinosaurs while fending off the aggressive ones. You get it, it's dinosaurs. But Talon is no ordinary dinosaur. When Talon emits a special light, it activates the plans of an ancient source of power that wants to prepare the dinosaurs to fight back against the coming aliens. This ancient source of knowledge is known as Zakuro, who claims to know everything. Because of that, Zakuro knows exactly who to give powers to and when, even if his assistant gets impatient and jumps to conclusions about why it would be bad. This assistant, Azarek, is a cool elf-looking guy who flies around on a cloud, mentoring the dinosaurs who display the special light that he calls an aura. This aura signals that the dinosaur is capable of receiving certain powers. The first of these is Talon, whose aura allows them to receive the power of the sun. The second is Koda, who receives the power of thunder. What's interesting is that Zakuro doesn't hand out these powers and then just sends the kids off to war. Instead, he prepares challenges for them, in the form of 7 dinosaurs trapped in crystals. The first of these dinosaurs released is referred to as Fury, a cool-looking Spinosaurus who wants revenge on Zakuro, but who also seems to know that he's nearly unkillable. I say nearly unkillable here because to get Fury to cooperate, Zakuro tells her that if she can defeat the kids after their training, he will reveal the secret to killing him. I have to imagine that Fury is a dinosaur who was misled by Zekor in the past, not realizing what she was getting herself into when she received her powers. At some point in the past, Fury likely was chosen as some sort of champion by Zekor, but at some point he would have put her in this crystal, which would have been seen as something bad for her. This perfectly sets up our main characters to develop a similar complicated relationship with Zekor, going from kids who just want cool magic and to help others, to adults who realize that they are pawns in Zekor's bigger game. Because Zekor claims to see everything, he knew not only that the kids would win against Fury, but that Fury would respect them and want to guide them, maybe hoping she can help them avoid the darker parts of Zekor's job that she had experienced. It's possible that the reason we only see 7 crystals is because there's actually an 8th ancient champion who didn't need to be frozen, maybe even Azarek himself. Either way, I think the real heart of the story is going to be Talon and their relationship with Zekor. What's interesting is that Zekor's name seems to be a play on Zechariah, one of the minor prophets in the Jewish Old Testament, but definitely one of the more well-known names with the Book of Zechariah. This fits the idea that Zekor is psychic and even prophetic. The show leans even further into biblical themes with the names of other characters such as Azarek. Azarek's name appears to be a play on the fallen angel named Asa, though people here are probably more well aware of the other angel with a similar name mentioned in the Bible in the book of Leviticus, Azazel. Azarek also claims to speak Elmith, which while sounding like elf is rooted in the word El, the ancient Semitic term for God. In Judaism, El is used to refer to God or to the gods of other nations, with warnings throughout the Bible such as not to follow the El of another nation. In Judaism, there's also the stories of the sons of Elohim, the sons of gods, described as larger, angel-like humans who came down to the earth to bestow gifts on the lesser humans, such as writing, or in Talon's case, the gift of speech. Where this gets especially interesting is how the Jewish Old Testament differs from the teachings of the New Testament written for Christians. In Judaism, the central idea is a special covenant with God. In exchange for certain blessings, the people of Israel are bound to fulfill the will of an all-seeing God. That doesn't mean they can't rebel, as the Old Testament is basically the story of the rebellion against God. And we see something very similar playing out in the show with Talon, with the idea being that even if you rebel against God, an all-seeing God will just use that to his own advantage, manipulating you along the way to your own goal so that eventually you learn the lessons that he wants you to learn and end up in the place that he wants you to be. In Talon, Zekor awakened Fury knowing that she wants to hurt him. When he first gave her power, he probably knew that one day she would seek his downfall, but he also knew this would make her the perfect teacher for Talon, pulling her into his long-term plans. For stories about dinosaurs, however, long-term plans are rarely good news. We talked about the idea of there being some sort of alternate timeline in the story, as in our world, dinosaurs all die out or evolve into new forms. With the current themes and remembering that this is just a pilot and a lot can change from here, I'd say that the dinosaurs are probably doomed either way. Zekor and Azarek's goal for the future world probably involves humans, and even they'll have to be guided through suffering to reach some sort of desired outcome one day. What characters like Talon want is peace. It's hard to imagine a world of peace beyond the one you know, but you can be pushed to care about the suffering in your world so much that the only answer is to make way for a new one. To accept the fact that the version of humanity, or in this case dinosaurs, that exists at the time aren't perfect, and that a more perfect species can come later that will live a more peaceful existence. I think these dinosaurs can defeat the aliens, but it'll come at a huge cost, great destruction, harsh times, and maybe even mass die-offs. In the world to come, even after humans have finally found peace, Talon may see the spirits of all the dinosaurs living on in them and the animals around them, in a more perfect, peaceful world. But that's just a theory so far, and the show may go in totally different directions. If you haven't seen it, I still recommend checking it out. It's basically Avatar: The Last Airbender meets dinosaurs. Honestly, I can't believe how many Avatar-inspired shows are out there without a network scooping up an idea like this one yet. But with enough support, maybe we'll get more episodes on our own, or even a full series pickup like other indie animated shows have gotten recently. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below, what you think of the pilot, and if you've been following it for a long time or just now getting into it. See you guys next time!